Hey everyone and welcome to Storytime. My name is Jake and today we're going to be looking at the subreddit r/idontworkherelady, where people tell us their stories of when they go into other businesses and have irate customers mistake them for employees. If you're new around here, please hit subscribe so that you never miss out on another video. But for now, let's sit back, relax and enjoy some funny Reddit stories. How many times do I have to tell you this, lady? This all happened a few months ago, so here is some backstory. I'm a rather large person, both in height and weight, 6'7" and 240 pounds, and have a large amount of facial hair for being only 16, so it's pretty common for me to be mistaken for an adult. I was out at the local mall by myself because my parents weren't home for the day, and my mother gave me a shopping list for what we needed for the week. The mall that I was in was having a casual Friday, so most of the employees were wearing normal clothes. The only thing distinguishing them from customers was the name tag. I was in the produce section of the store when this story properly begins. I was buying fruit for my younger sister, who was still at school at the time, and some other things for the week when I noticed a mother with her daughter shopping just down the aisle from me. The mother, who we will call typical Karen, had the "I demand to speak with your manager" and "my child deserves," insert entitled parent phrase, looks, haircut and all the other stuff of a Karen. She looks over and starts walking to me as I'm finding what fruit is on the list. And then the "I don't work here" lady starts to play out. "Excuse me, but do you know where the dairy aisle is?" asks Karen. "No, I don't. Sorry," I reply, being polite because there is no reason to be rude. "How do you not know where it is? You work here," Karen says, now getting loud and irritated. "Well, that's the thing. I don't work here, lady. Now, if you can excuse me, I need to find the breakfast aisle," I announce as I start to walk away. Suddenly, she reaches out and grabs my arm, digging her nails into my wrist. "How dare you walk away from me? I will have you fired for ignoring me," Karen screeches, starting to draw attention. As I look over, I can see that her daughter is clearly as embarrassed as I was. "Listen, ma'am, I do not work here. Now leave me alone," I announce, starting to get annoyed with her. I grab her arm and remove it from my wrist. Her nails have drawn blood at this point and a large red mark surrounding my entire wrist. Wrong choice. Without warning, she slaps me across the face, knocking me off balance, but I manage to keep myself from falling over. "How dare you assault me? I will have you arrested for assaulting a customer, and I will have you fired. As a matter of fact, I want to speak to your manager." There's the typical Karen phrase. Typical Karen shrieks at me. By this point, a manager has seen her smack me and has rushed over. We will call the manager Kyle. "Why did you just slap him, ma'am?" asks Kyle with clear concern. "You need to train your employees better. He ignored me, and when I asked again, he hit me in the face." Typical Karen shouts, avoiding Kyle's question altogether. "He doesn't work here. He is just a customer," Kyle explains. By this point, two officers had come in and had seen TK slap me, all while shouting that I tried to sexually assault her. After she had been taken away, one of the officers had gone over to me and asked for my side of the story, showing them the nail marks in my wrist and the handprint on my face, and after checking the camera, my story appeared to be truthful. To conclude this story, they asked me if I wanted to press charges for assault, and me being highly petty, said yes. Typical Karen wants to take me to court, but my father is having to deal with this because you can't sue a minor, and the court date is coming up soon. Once the ruling is finished, I'll make an update explaining the situation. I'll catch y'all then. Is that finally someone who actually pressed charges? Wow. Don't hold a meeting in the soda aisle. Short and stupid. I live in an upper middle class suburb of New York City. Some of the people in my town are a bit entitled. Anyway, onto the story. When I work from home, I dress very casually. Basically sweats, and I don't bother shaving. I find weekdays to go shopping to be the best, as the store is not too crowded. I wanted to get some diet soda for the weekend, and a well-dressed late 20s, early 30s man was on his phone, standing in front of the soda I wanted. I said excuse me, and he rolled his eyes and said, "Just because I'm wearing a suit and talking business on the phone doesn't mean I work here." I replied, "I just needed to get what you're blocking." He huffed, mumbled something about lazy people who don't have a job to whoever he was speaking to, and moved over. Now, if that was the end of the story, I wouldn't have bothered posting. But of course, it's not. I heard him mention a type of case in our local state courthouse. Next town over is the county seat. In the same practice area my wife and I practiced in when we were practicing law. I closed her firm when she passed. Just wasn't the same. Our county is small enough so that if you're practicing for a few years, you know most of the lawyers and judges in your area of law. Still a little annoyed from our interaction, I decided to play a bluff. I asked, "Are you talking about that case in front of that judge?" Startled, he replied, "Why do you want to know?" My response, "It sounds like the case my wife and I are opposing counsel on in front of Judge X in courtroom 123 next week." Dude turned very white very fast. He was indeed talking about a case that was going to be in front of Judge X next week. Fortunately for him, I remembered our case was the following week to let him know that he hadn't just royally messed up, followed with a suggestion he may not want to have those type of conversations where he can be overheard. Moral of the story, don't have a confidential conversation in public, and don't underestimate a slob dressed in sweats. Everyone keep a cool head. This happened 25 years ago. I'd been called back from an overseas posting. My father had had a succession of heart attacks, and it didn't look good. 30 hours of emergency compassionate flights later, and I was back in Australia from Germany. I moved in with my mother to help her. She didn't realise just how bad things were. 1 AM, phone call from the hospital. Come now. My mother didn't appreciate the gravity of the situation, that we had to go immediately. I slowly told her that yes, it was time to panic. Just calmly. As my father had told me the previous day, when he was still in reasonable shape, everyone keep a cool head. We got there, and my mother stayed outside the ward, as by this time the realisation was starting to hit. I entered the ward, and my father was there, conscious, but then went into full cardiac arrest as I was walking to him. You've probably seen all the events in reality TV shows. The crash cart, the paddles, injection of adrenaline directly into the heart, the well-coordinated professional team in action. It was important that the patient be reassured, so I held his hand and commanded him to stay with me. Keep breathing. Only letting go and putting my hands up when the paddles were applied. Everyone came running. Some specialists in civvies, still groggy at being roused from sleep at home. Others duty staff in scrubs. The team got him restarted. The sweetest sinus rhythm I've ever seen on a monitor. No more tombstones. I just kept out of the way, first rule in such situations, and let those who knew what they were doing do their job, while I provided a calm but forceful patient support. According to them, I made a difference. As they did this, a gaggle of interns came up, also keeping out of the way and observing. Crashes like this with a successful outcome, textbook cases, are rare. Maybe 1 in 4 resuscitations are successful. They needed to learn. As like everyone there, they had been both compassionate and coolly professional. As I backed away, the only one there not completely busy putting gear away, attaching monitors, etc., one of the interns, asked me about the patient's history and other details. I had to say I wasn't a part of the medical team, I was just the patient's daughter, just keeping a cool head as my daddy wanted me to. Not quite the usual, "I don't work here lady" story, but close enough. It also has the virtue of being true. Don't tell me Karen is back, please. This story is about my little sister. She was getting some goods before coming home, in the same store I was in. She was wearing casual clothes when the store's employees wear uniforms with the store logo. She was picking up some dog food before Karen kicked in, asking multiple questions to my sister like, "Where's the Coke? I don't see it." My sister briefly said, "Just in the last aisle, where you can find water too." She got there, then she came back, saying, "I still don't see it." My sister started to be a little angry, since she was going to be late, and said, "Maybe they don't have it in stock. I hope you do realise it's Easter holidays, and that it's Friday today." Karen got away, but she came back with an employee, pointing her finger at my sis, saying, "It was her. Why is your colleague so ignorant?" Reply from the worker, "Maybe she is, because she doesn't work here. If you need help, go to an employee in the store, or to a checkout area to ask for someone, since this is a small store." She actually got out the store with her groceries. Silent. Hey everyone, I hope you're all having a really good day and that you enjoyed that video. If you want to check out some other videos, then click on screen right now, or check out the playlists down below. If you enjoyed that video, then remember to leave a like and subscribe if you aren't already. But thank you so much for watching, and I will see you very soon.